Captain Jin Watanabe stared at the display screen in the control room of Cerberus Station. The deep space monitoring post sat at the edge of known space, far from Earth and far from the busy trade routes. For 15 years, Jin had watched empty space and filed reports that nobody read. It was quiet work for a quiet man. The coffee in his cup had gone cold hours ago. Jin rubbed his tired eyes and checked the time. His shift would end soon, and then he could sleep. Tomorrow would be another day of watching nothing happen. The communication panel beeped. Jin frowned. Messages were rare out here. The last one had come 3 months ago, a supply ship confirming its route to the outer colonies. Station Cerberus receiving, Jin said into the microphone. Static filled the speakers. Then a voice came through, broken and filled with fear. This is Colony Ship Helena, under attack. They came without warning. Jin sat up straight. His hands moved quickly across the controls, trying to clear the signal. Helena, this is Cerberus Station. Please repeat your message. They're killing everyone? The voice continued. The Kethtar ships. So many of them. Even the children. They're not taking prisoners. The transmission cut to static. Jin tried to reconnect, but the signal was gone. Jin's heart pounded. The Helena was one of the Outer Rim colonies, home to 50,000 humans. His daughter Sarah lived there, working as a teacher in the colony schools. He activated the long-range sensors and pointed them toward the Helena system. The readings took several minutes to process. When they appeared on his screen, Jin felt sick. The system was dark. No energy signatures. No life signs. Nothing but debris floating in space where the colony should have been. Jin checked the other colonies in the Outer Rim. New Shanghai, Port Victoria, Freedom Station. One by one, the sensors showed the same thing. Destruction. Death. Silence. His hands shook as he opened a communication channel to Earth. It had been almost 10 years since he had contacted the home world directly. The transmission would take 6 hours to reach Earth, and another 6 for a reply. Earth Central Command, this is Captain Jin Watanabe, Station Cerberus. Emergency Priority 1. The Outer Rim colonies are gone. Repeat. All Outer Rim colonies show signs of complete destruction. Evidence suggests Kethtar involvement. Requesting immediate instructions. Jin sent the message and sat back in his chair. His mind raced. The Kethtar hegemony controlled a large part of the galaxy now. They had grown powerful in the 150 years since humans had left the Galactic Council. He remembered the history lessons from his youth. After the Terran Wars, humanity had withdrawn from galactic politics. The wars had been terrible. Human weapons had killed millions of civilians by accident during a peacekeeping mission. The galaxy had been horrified. Humans had been horrified too. Ambassador Elena Vasquez had given the famous speech that every human child learned in school. She had stood before the Galactic Council and said, "We are too dangerous to police the galaxy. We give you the gift of our absence. Use it wisely." Earth had pulled back its fleets. Humans had stopped exploring new worlds. They had focused on their existing colonies and left the galaxy alone. It was supposed to keep everyone safe. But now, someone had broken that peace. Jin pulled up the old files on the Kethtar. They were a warrior species, proud and aggressive. Before humans had left the Council, the Kethtar had been a minor power, held in check by stronger species. But in 150 years, things could change. The communication panel beeped again. Jin activated it quickly, hoping for news from one of the colonies. Instead, he heard something that made his blood freeze. "Unknown human station," said a cold, mechanical voice. "This is War Leader Vex High of the Kethtar hegemony. You have witnessed the cleansing of human infection from this sector. Your species has hidden long enough. We know where your homeworld lies." Jin's finger hovered over the response button, but the Kethtar continued. Your kind brought violence to the galaxy once. We will ensure you never do so again. The final cleansing begins soon. Quote. The transmission ended. Jin sat in stunned silence. The Kethtar were not just destroying human colonies, they were planning to attack Earth itself. He thought about his daughter Sarah. Was she dead? Had she suffered? Jin closed his eyes and tried not to imagine her final moments. The communication board lit up with an incoming message from Earth. Jin opened it with trembling hands. The face of Admiral Chen appeared on the screen. She looked older than Jin remembered, with gray hair and tired eyes. But her voice was steady and strong. Captain Watanabe, we have received your report. We are processing this information. Stand ready for further orders. And Captain? We're sorry about Sarah. Jin's throat tightened. The Admiral knew about his daughter. That meant Earth's intelligence network was still working. Still watching. Maybe they had known this was coming. Hours passed. Jin monitored space around his station, waiting for Kethtar ships to appear. He checked his weapons systems. Cerberus Station had defensive guns, but they would not stop a fleet. Finally, another message arrived from Earth. This time, it was not Admiral Chen on the screen. It was someone Jin had never seen before. A middle-aged woman in a military uniform without rank markings. Captain Watanabe, she said. This is General Sarah Chen, Earth Defense Force. You are to evacuate Station Cerberus immediately and report to Fleet Assembly Point Alpha. Your ship is the first to carry news of what happened to the Outer Rim. The galaxy needs to know. Jin frowned. General, with respect, I thought Admiral Chen was in command of Earth's defenses. The woman's smile was cold. Admiral Chen retired yesterday. The Earth Defense Force is no longer a ceremonial organization. Captain, we have work to do. In the background of the transmission, Jin could see activity he had never witnessed before. People in military uniforms moved with purpose. Screens showed star charts and fleet positions. This was not the Earth he remembered, the quiet Earth that had turned away from the galaxy. Captain, General Chen continued, the Kethtar have made a grave mistake. They believed our withdrawal meant we were weak. They thought 150 years of peace had made us soft. They were wrong. The transmission ended. Jin began preparations to abandon his station. As he worked, he thought about the General's words. What had Earth been doing for the past century and a half? What preparations had been made in secret? Outside his window, the stars looked the same as always. But Jin knew that soon, they would witness something the galaxy had not seen in 150 years. Humanity was coming back to war. The council chamber in New Geneva had not seen this many world leaders in 50 years. Presidents, prime ministers, and governors from every human world sat around the massive circular table. The room buzzed with quiet conversations in a dozen languages. General Sarah Chen stood at the center of the chamber, her hands clasped behind her back. She had been in this room only once before, as a young lieutenant during the withdrawal ceremony. Now she commanded Earth's military forces, forces that most people believed no longer existed. President Martinez of South America called for silence. We have all seen Captain Watanabe's report. The Outer Rim colonies are gone. 53 worlds. 200 million people. His voice cracked slightly. My own granddaughter was studying on New Beijing. Murmurs of sympathy filled the room. Nearly everyone present had lost someone in the outer colonies. The settlements had been home to adventurous spirits, scientists, and families seeking new lives among the stars. The question before us, said Prime Minister Okonkwo of the African Federation, is how we respond. Do we contact the Galactic Council? Do we seek diplomatic solutions? With respect, General Chen said, diplomacy failed to protect our people. The Kethtar did not attack military targets. They destroyed schools, hospitals, and civilian shelters. This was not war, It was genocide. An older man in the corner of the room cleared his throat. Dr. Marcus Okafor had been quiet during most of the meeting, but now all eyes turned to him. As head of the Heritage Project, he knew secrets that even most world leaders did not. General Chen is correct, Dr. Okafor said. But there is something else we must consider. The Kethtar believe they are attacking a defenseless species. They think our withdrawal made us weak. They have no idea what humanity has become. Drowns. They think. Drowns. President Kim of the Pacific Federation leaned forward. What do you mean? Dr. Okafor. Dr. Okafor activated a holographic display above the table. Images of sleek warships appeared, unlike anything built before humanity's withdrawal. For 150 years, we have prepared. End quote. Not for conquest, but for survival. Every year, we asked ourselves, what if someone came for Earth? What if our peace was not respected? The ships in the display were beautiful and terrible. They incorporated technology from a dozen species, improved by human engineering. Weapons that could punch through any known armor. Shields that could deflect the most powerful energy beams. Engines that could outrun anything in space. The Heritage Fleet, General Chen said. 47 capital ships, 300 destroyers, and 800 fighters, hidden in asteroid fields and gas giant moons throughout the Sol system. Chancellor Weber of the European Union stared at the display. This must have cost. How did we fund this without public knowledge? Dr. Okafor smiled sadly. Every mining operation, every research grant, every space exploration mission for the past century included Heritage Project funding. We told ourselves it was insurance. Now we know it was necessary. Governor Thompson of the American Territories stood up. Are you saying we've been secretly preparing for war while telling our people we were committed to peace? We were committed to peace, General Chen replied. But we were not committed to extinction. Every leader in this room knew about Heritage, even if they did not know the details. Every world contributed resources. We all agreed that humanity needed protection. The room fell silent. It was true. Each administration, each government had quietly supported the project. They had told themselves it would never be needed. They had hoped their children would live in a peaceful galaxy. How many people? Asked President Martinez. How many humans know how to fight? 50 million, Dr. Okafor answered. Volunteers from every world. They trained in secret, in facilities hidden beneath civilian installations. Teachers who spent summer vacations learning combat tactics. Engineers who designed weapons during their spare time. Farmers who could pilot warships. General Chen activated another display. This one showed human soldiers, but they were different from the old Earth Defense Force. Taller, stronger, faster. Their eyes reflected light like a cat's in the dark. The enhancement program, she explained. Genetic modifications to improve human capabilities. Better reflexes, enhanced strength, improved healing. Not enough to create super soldiers, but enough to give our people an edge in combat. President Kim looked uncomfortable. We're talking about genetic modification of human beings. This raises serious ethical questions. The Kethtar raised ethical questions when they murdered children, General Chen said coldly. These modifications were voluntary. Every enhanced soldier chose their path. They knew the risks. An aide entered the chamber and whispered something to General Chen. Her expression darkened. What is it? Asked Prime Minister Okonkwo. Long-range sensors have detected a Kethtar fleet entering the Sol system, General Chen announced. 48 ships, moving toward Earth. They will arrive in 18 hours. After 7. The chamber erupted in worried voices. Some leaders called for evacuation plans. Others demanded to know why the defense fleet had not intercepted the enemy. General Chen raised her hand for silence. The Kethtar fleet will not be intercepted. It will be allowed to approach Earth. Are you insane? Shouted Governor Thompson. Earth has 12 billion people. Earth also has orbital defense platforms that the Kethtar have never seen, Dr. Okafor explained. We want them to come close. We want them to see what they are attacking. Then, we want them to understand their mistake. General Chen walked to the large window that looked out over Lake Geneva. In the distance, she could see the snow-capped mountains of the Alps. Her grandmother had lived through the last global war on Earth, when humans had fought each other with primitive weapons. Now, humanity faced extinction from the stars. The Heritage Fleet will emerge when the Kethtar reach Earth orbit, she said. They will see ships they cannot match, carrying soldiers they cannot defeat. But more importantly, the entire galaxy will see it. Every species will know that humanity is not defenseless. She turned back to the assembled leaders. We gave the galaxy 150 years of peace. We withdrew our fleets and kept our weapons hidden. We hoped that other species would learn to govern themselves without violence. Instead, they allowed genocidal maniacs to grow powerful enough to threaten us. President Martinez stood up. General, are you asking for authorization to begin a war? No, sir. General Chen replied. I am asking for authorization to end one. The war began when the Kethtar murdered our people. We are simply going to finish it. The vote was unanimous. Every world leader agreed that humanity had no choice but to fight. As the meeting ended, Dr. Okafor approached General Chen. Do you think they understand what we're unleashing? He asked quietly. General Chen looked out the window again. Somewhere above the atmosphere, hidden weapons platforms were powering up for the first time in over a century. In secret bases around the world, human soldiers were putting on armor and boarding ships. No, she said. But they will. War leader Vex High stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Bone Crusher, and stared at the blue world ahead. Earth looked peaceful from space. White clouds swirling over green continents and blue oceans. It was hard to believe this small planet had once threatened the entire galaxy. The human homeworld appears defenseless, war leader, reported his tactical officer. Our sensors detect no military vessels in orbit, only civilian traffic and orbital stations. Vex High's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. The Kethtar had spent months planning this attack. Intelligence reports suggested that Earth's military had been disbanded after the human withdrawal. The planet relied on a small defense force that existed mainly for ceremony. Are the planetary bombardment systems ready? Vex High asked. Yes, war leader. We can begin destroying population centers within minutes of reaching optimal range. Behind them, 47 other Kethtar warships held formation. It was the largest fleet the hegemony had ever assembled. Enough firepower to crack a planet's crust if necessary. Vex High remembered the old stories about human warfare. Brutal, they said. Without honor, humans had won battles through trickery and overwhelming force rather than skill and courage. But that was ancient history now. The humans had been hiding in their little corner of space for 150 years. They had grown soft and weak. War leader, called the communications officer. We are receiving a transmission from the human planet. Put it on the main screen. The image of a human female appeared before them. She wore a military uniform but carried no visible weapons. Her expression was calm, almost bored. This is General Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command, the human said. You have entered the Sol system without permission. State your business or withdraw immediately. Vex High laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge. Human General, I am War Leader Vex High of the Kethtar hegemony. We have come to complete the cleansing that began in your outer colonies. Your species will no longer pollute the galaxy with its presence. The human's expression did not change. I see. In that case, War Leader, you have made a serious mistake. I suggest you reconsider your actions. The only mistake, HFY snarled, was allowing your kind to survive this long. We have 48 warships. You have nothing but empty threats. General Chen smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. 48 ships? Is that all? How disappointing. The transmission ended. HFY stared at the empty screen, feeling a strange unease. The human had shown no fear, no desperation. She had seemed almost amused. Resume course toward the planet, he ordered. Prepare to begin bombardment. The fleet moved deeper into the Sol system. As they passed the asteroid belt, the tactical officer frowned at his displays. War Leader, I am detecting unusual energy readings from several asteroids. The signatures are inconsistent with natural formations. Explain. HFY commanded. Before the officer could answer, the asteroids began to move. What HFY had taken for space rocks suddenly revealed themselves as massive weapons platforms. They unfolded like metal flowers, bristling with gun barrels and missile launchers. There were dozens of them, positioned throughout the asteroid belt. War Leader, shouted the tactical officer. New contacts, ships emerging from behind gas giant moons. On the main display, sleek vessels appeared from hiding spots throughout the system. They were unlike anything in HFY's experience, long and graceful, with weapon ports that glowed like stars. Human ships, but nothing like the crude vessels from historical records. How many? HFY demanded. I count. 47 capital ships, War Leader, plus hundreds of smaller vessels. HFY's blood ran cold. The humans had hidden an entire fleet in their own system, but that was impossible. His intelligence reports had been certain that Earth was defenseless. All ships, battle formation, he commanded. Prepare to engage the human fleet. The Kethtar vessels spread out, bringing their weapons to bear on the approaching human ships. For a moment, the two fleets faced each other in the darkness, between worlds. Then, the humans attacked. It was nothing like the old stories. No massive battles between lines of ships exchanging fire until one side broke. Instead, the human vessels moved like dancers, weaving between Kethtar shots with impossible grace. Their weapons fired in precise bursts, targeting specific systems on enemy ships rather than attempting to destroy them outright. They're disabling our engines, reported the tactical officer. Not destroying our ships, crippling them. HFY watched in horror as his fleet was systematically torn apart. Human ships moved too fast to target effectively. Their shields absorbed hits that should have destroyed them. Worse, some of the human vessels were ramming Kethtar ships, using their hulls as weapons. No honor, HFY muttered. They fight without honor. A new contact appeared on the sensors. A single human fighter approaching the bone crusher at impossible speed. The pilot was either insane or suicidal. The fighter crashed into the flagship's docking bay. HFY expected it to explode, but instead, the bay doors were forced open. Figures in armored suits moved through the ship's corridors, heading for the bridge. Security teams to the bridge, HFY commanded. Repel boarders. The first human soldier through the bridge doors moved like lightning, taller than any baseline human should be, with eyes that reflected the emergency lighting. The soldier's armor absorbed energy weapon hits that should have been fatal. In seconds, the bridge crew was unconscious or dead. Only HFY remained, held at gunpoint by the enhanced human. War Leader HFY, the soldier said in perfect Kethtar language. HFY's mandibles clicked nervously. Captain, you must understand. We were following orders. The hegemony decided that humans were too dangerous to survive. You were right about that, Captain Watanabe replied. We are very dangerous. But we are dangerous to those who threaten the innocent. not to those who live in peace. Through the bridge windows, Vexhai could see the remains of his fleet. Most ships were drifting powerless, their crews captured or dead. The great Kethtar armada had been defeated in less than an hour. "This is impossible," Vexhai whispered. "Your species withdrew from galactic affairs. You abandoned warfare. Galactic affair. You abandoned warfare. You abandoned warfare. You abandoned warfare. You abandoned warfare. We abandoned conquest." Captain Watanabe corrected. "We never abandoned defense. For 150 years, we prepared for the possibility that someone would come for our families. We hoped it would never happen. You made sure it did." A communication panel activated on the bridge. General Chen's face appeared once again. "Captain Watanabe, mission status?" she asked. "Fleet neutralized, General. War leader Vexhai is in custody. No human casualties." "Excellent. Begin broadcasting the evidence of Kethtar genocide to all Galactic Council frequencies. It's time the galaxy learned what kind of species they've been allowing to grow powerful." As human ships moved through the debris field, collecting prisoners and survivors, Vexhai realized the true scope of his defeat. This had not been a battle, it had been a demonstration. The humans wanted the galaxy to see what happened to those who committed genocide. "What happens now?" Vexhai asked. Captain Watanabe's expression was cold as space itself. Now we come for the rest of your people. Every ship that participated in the genocide will be found. Every leader who ordered the attacks will face trial, and every species in the galaxy will remember that humanity's mercy has limits." Outside the ship, Earth continued its slow rotation, beautiful and serene. But Vexhai now understood that this peaceful world was home to the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy. Warriors who had been sleeping. Warriors who were now awake. Ambassador Kelleth of the Valen Consortium stood before the emergency session of the Galactic Council, his 4 arms trembling with fear. Around the massive chamber, representatives of 87 species watched the holographic displays with growing horror. The recordings had been broadcasting across all Council frequencies for 6 days now. Clear evidence of Kethtar ships destroying human colonies, cities burning from orbital bombardment, evacuation ships targeted and destroyed as they tried to flee. Children's voices cut short as the transmissions ended. But worse than the evidence of genocide were the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Human ships had appeared in 16 different sectors simultaneously, hunting down every Kethtar vessel that had participated in the colony attacks. "The humans are not seeking diplomatic resolution," Ambassador Kelleth reported to the Council. "They have rejected all communication attempts from both the hegemony and neutral species. Their ships attack without warning and show no mercy to Kethtar forces." High Chancellor Threx, the Council's current leader, looked exhausted. The tall, reptilian being had held the position for 20 years, guiding the galaxy through a period of relative peace. Now that peace was shattered. "What is the current status of the conflict?" Threx asked. 17 Kethtar fleets have been completely destroyed," Kelleth replied. 3 more are missing and presumed eliminated. Human forces have retaken all the destroyed colony sites and are establishing military bases there. A murmur of concern rippled through the chamber. The humans were not just seeking revenge, they were reclaiming territory. Councillor Evex of the Zephyrian Republic raised one of her tentacles. "Have the humans made any demands? Do they seek reparations from the hegemony?" "No demands have been made," Kelleth answered. "The humans appear to be operating under a simple principle. Find every ship and soldier responsible for the genocide and destroy them." On the main display, new footage appeared, a human fleet surrounding a Kethtar military base. The human ships were sleek and deadly, unlike anything the Council had seen before. They moved with coordinated precision that suggested advanced tactical systems and highly trained crews. As the Council watched, the human fleet opened fire. But instead of the overwhelming bombardment they expected, the humans used surgical strikes. They targeted only military installations, weapons platforms, and command centers. When the base surrendered, human soldiers moved in to take prisoners. "They are not conducting random destruction," observed Counselor Vex. "They are eliminating specific targets while minimizing civilian casualties." High Chancellor Threx studied the recordings carefully. How do the humans know which ships and bases were involved in the attacks? The genocide occurred across dozens of systems over several months. Ambassador Keleth's expression darkened. "We believe the humans have been monitoring Kethtar communications and movements for years. They possess detailed records of every unit that participated in the colony destructions." The implications sent a chill through the chamber. If humanity had been secretly watching the galaxy for over a century, what else did they know? What other preparations had they made? "High Chancellor," said Counselor Mirren of the Stellar Federation, "I must ask the obvious question. Should the Council intervene to stop this conflict?" Threx looked around the chamber. Many representatives avoided his gaze. They had all seen the evidence of what the Kethtar had done. Systematic murder of civilians, deliberate targeting of schools and hospitals, the destruction of evacuation ships carrying refugees. "Counselor Mirren," Threx said carefully, "are you suggesting we protect a species that has committed genocide?" "I am suggesting we prevent this conflict from spreading," Mirren replied. "The humans have advanced technology and obvious military capability. If they decide the entire galaxy is responsible for failing to stop the Kethtar, where does it end?" Before anyone could answer, the chamber's communication system activated. The image of a human appeared on the main screen. An older woman in a military uniform. "Greetings, Galactic Council," the human said. "I am General Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Force." High Chancellor Threx leaned forward. "General Chen, the Council is grateful for your willingness to communicate. We have seen evidence of the terrible crimes committed against your people, and we extend our deepest condolences for your losses." "Thank you," General Chen replied. "However, I am not here to accept condolences. I am here to make the Council's position clear to my superiors." The chamber fell silent. General Chen's tone suggested this was not a negotiation. It was an ultimatum. The Kethtar hegemony committed genocide against human civilians. Chen continued. They did this while operating freely in Council space, using Council trade routes, and benefiting from Council protection. The galaxy failed to stop them. "General," Threx said carefully, "the Council was not aware of the hegemony's plans. Had we known—" "You would have done nothing," Chen interrupted. "Just as you have done nothing about Kethtar aggression against smaller species for the past 50 years. We have records of their previous actions, High Chancellor. The galaxy chose to ignore their behavior because it was easier than confronting them." Ambassador Keleth stood up. "General Chen, surely you cannot hold the entire galaxy responsible for the actions of one species." Chen's expression remained cold. "I hold the galaxy responsible for creating the conditions that allowed genocide to occur, but I am not here to punish innocent species. I am here to ensure this never happens again." A new image appeared on the screen beside Chen, a star map showing human military positions. Red markers indicated newly established bases throughout the galaxy. End quote. "Humanity is establishing protection zones around vulnerable species," Chen announced. "Any act of aggression against civilian populations within these zones will be met with immediate military response." Counselor Vex sputtered with indignation. "You cannot simply declare yourselves the protectors of other species. The Council has jurisdiction over—" "The Council had jurisdiction over the Outer Rim colonies," Chen replied. "Where was that jurisdiction when human children were being murdered? Your authority exists only as long as species choose to recognize it. Many species have already requested human protection. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Some representatives protested humanity's unilateral actions. Others demanded to know which species had requested protection. A few quietly activated their personal communication devices, probably reporting back to their home governments. High Chancellor Threx called for order. When the chamber quieted, he addressed Chen directly. "General, what does humanity want from the Council?" "Nothing," Chen answered. "We learned 150 years ago that the galaxy cannot govern itself justly. We withdrew to allow you to prove us wrong. You failed. We will not make that mistake again." "Are you threatening Council authority?" Threx asked. "No," Chen replied. "I am dismissing it. Humanity recognizes the authority of species that protect their people and respect the rights of others. We do not recognize the authority of organizations that enable genocide." The transmission ended, leaving the council chamber in stunned silence. Ambassador Kelleth looked around at his fellow representatives. Many appeared frightened. Some looked angry. A few seemed relieved that someone was finally taking action against species like the Kethtar. "High Chancellor," Kelleth said quietly, "I believe we have a choice to make. We can oppose humanity and risk war with the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Or we can accept their protection and hope they are more merciful than we deserve." Through the chamber's great windows, stars twinkled in the endless night. Somewhere among those stars, human ships continued their hunt for the remaining Kethtar forces. And throughout the galaxy, species that had lived in fear of aggressive neighbors were beginning to hope that someone finally cared about their survival. The age of the Galactic Council was ending. The age of human protection had begun. The trial of war leader Vex High took place on Kepler Station, a neutral trading post at the edge of Galactic Council space. Representatives from 43 species attended the proceedings, broadcast live across all communication networks. Humanity had insisted on transparency. The galaxy would witness justice being done. Captain Jin Watanabe sat in the witness section, still wearing the black armband that honored his daughter's memory. 3 months had passed since the final Kethtar fleet was destroyed at their homeworld. The war was over, but the reckoning had only begun. Judge Advocate General Lisa Park, a stern woman with gray hair and sharp eyes, presided over the tribunal. She had spent 20 years as a civilian lawyer before joining the Heritage Project's legal division. Her job was to ensure that humanity's response to genocide remained within the bounds of justice. "War Leader Vex High," Judge Park said, "you stand accused of ordering the systematic execution of civilian populations on 53 human colonies. How do you respond to these charges?" 9. Vex High, bound in restraints designed for his species, raised his head defiantly. "I acted under orders from the Kethtar Hegemony High Command. We believed humans posed a threat to galactic security. Explain to this tribunal how children in schools posed a threat to galactic security," Park demanded. Vex High's mandibles clicked nervously. "Humans are. They are dangerous. The entire species. Their history shows they cannot be trusted with power." From the gallery, Dr. Yenny Okafor stood up. The elderly Okafor was not the same man who had overseen the Heritage Project. This was his daughter, now serving as humanity's chief diplomatic representative. "Your Honor," Dr. Okafor said, "I would like to present evidence regarding the Kethtar's true motivations for these attacks." Judge Park nodded. "The court will hear your evidence, Dr. Okafor." The courtroom's holographic display activated, showing communications intercepts from Kethtar military networks. The translated text scrolled across the screen for all to see. "These are planning documents from the Hegemony High Command," Dr. Okafor explained. "They reveal that the attacks on human colonies were not motivated by fear, but by opportunity. The Kethtar believed humanity was defenseless and saw an opportunity to claim human territory and resources. The evidence was damning. Internal Kethtar communications discussed dividing human worlds among hegemony generals as personal fiefdoms. They spoke of human technology and infrastructure as prizes to be claimed after the cleansing was complete. Ambassador Kelleth, now serving as the Council's observer to the trial, looked visibly disturbed. This suggests the genocide was not a defensive action, but a calculated act of conquest. Exactly, Dr. Okafor confirmed. The Kethtar did not attack us because they feared human aggression. They attacked us because they thought we were weak. Vex High's defense attorney, a Kethtar legal advocate named Thexril, attempted to salvage his client's case. The hegemony's motivations do not excuse the excessive human response. Your forces have destroyed our entire military and occupied our home world. General Chen, who had been silent throughout most of the trial, finally spoke. Counselor, your military no longer exists because it was composed entirely of war criminals. Every ship, every base, every unit that participated in the genocide has been eliminated. Those Kethtar who were not involved remain safe on their home world. Under human occupation, Thexril protested. Under human protection, Chen corrected. The same protection we now extend to 47 other species who requested our aid after witnessing what happened to defenseless civilizations. Judge Park reviewed her notes. The court has heard sufficient evidence. War leader Vex High, you are found guilty of crimes against sentient life, specifically the systematic murder of civilians. The sentence is life imprisonment on a penal colony, where you will spend your remaining years contributing to humanitarian aid projects. Vex High looked confused. You are not executing me? Humans do not execute prisoners of war, Judge Park explained. Your life will be spent helping to rebuild what your actions destroyed. As the trial concluded, Captain Watanabe walked through the station's observation deck. Through the transparent aluminum windows, he could see ships from dozens of species docked at the station. But now, human vessels patrolled the area, ensuring safe passage for all peaceful traffic. Dr. Okafor joined him at the viewing port. How are you feeling, Captain? Jin touched the black armband on his sleeve. Sarah would have wanted justice, not revenge. I think we achieved that. Tanter. Your daughter would be proud, Dr. Okafor said gently. The colonies are being rebuilt. The memorial gardens on each world will ensure the victims are never forgotten. Through the window, a familiar ship caught Jin's attention. The civilian transport New Hope was arriving with another group of colonists. These were not just humans. Valen families, Zephyrian settlers, and even some young Kethtar who had renounced their species' military culture were aboard. The galaxy is changing, Dr. Okafor observed. 47 species have formally requested inclusion in our protection network. The old council system is being replaced by something new. Jin nodded. What do you think the galaxy will look like in another 100 years? Safer, Dr. Okafor replied. Not perfect, but safer. We've proven that genocide has consequences, that civilized species will not stand by while others are murdered. A communication alert chimed through the station. General Chen's voice came over the speakers. Attention all personnel. We have received a distress signal from the Centauri sector. A species called the Rillan are reporting attacks by the Vorthan Empire. Human response fleets are moving to investigate. Jin sighed. It never ends. Does it? No, Doctor. Okafor agreed. But now it doesn't have to. For 150 years, we hoped the galaxy would police itself. We learned that hope is not enough. Sometimes, you have to be willing to act. As they watched, sleek human warships undocked from the station and jumped to faster-than-light speed. They were heading to another crisis, another opportunity to protect the innocent from those who would harm them. The age of human isolation was over. But more importantly, the age of unchecked aggression in the galaxy was ending too. Species that had lived in fear of stronger neighbors now knew that someone was watching. Someone who remembered what happened when genocide was allowed to flourish. In the depths of space, Earth continued its ancient rotation around its yellow star. The homeworld of humanity looked the same as it had for millions of years. But the species that called it home had finally accepted their role as protectors of those who could not protect themselves. They had given the galaxy 150 years of peace through their absence. Now they would give it peace through their presence. And the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, knowing that the darkness between worlds was no longer empty of hope. The message was clear to every species in the galaxy. Genocide would have consequences, justice would be served, and the innocent would be protected. This was humanity's promise. And humanity always kept its promises, even when it took 150 years to deliver them.